Alrighty. I think we're good to go. I think we're good to go. I think we're good to go. Let's do this thing. Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, guys. Or lunch, or afternoon, or night. Whatever it is. Alrighty. So, what I have decided to do today is I don't have access to my studio, so I am just going to talk about stuff as if it was a video, and it's not a video, but that's okay. That's okay. You know what? That's okay. Nothing much, Jason. I hope you're doing well. Jason, I need to share that thing that you said. I was going to make a video about the mug, and I haven't been able to make videos yet. Oh. But, anyways, just so you guys know, because I was supposed to have a video out on this today, this is Destinies Witchwood. This is the new expansion for Destinies that is up on GameFound right now. They're doing a reprint of Destiny and earlier expansions, and then they're also doing this. They've also got what looks to be a very nice, like, full deluxe organizational system that fits all of the Destiny stuff into one big box. But I played this last night, and I enjoyed myself. It changes quite a few things based off of the Destiny's format. If you've played the base game or other expansions, you probably know, like, kind of the system that I'm talking about. But if you're unfamiliar with Destiny's, it is a app-based narrative gameplay system that uses the app to determine the history of what each player has done over the course of the game. And then after you go ahead and move on with your turn, it shifts to the next person, remembers where they were. And so the app really drives a lot of the stuff, but you do have a physical board that kind of represents everything that you're doing in the game. And so the base game has the tutorial and 4 scenarios, and then this one right here, this new one, has got 4 full scenarios that they're including, but it's up on GameFound. The reason why I'm doing this for people that are just hopping in is because, again, I don't have access to my studio, so I'm just going to do some live streams this week to make up for that fact, along with some other, community posts and live streams and stuff. But, yeah, so this is Destiny's Witchwood. I liked it quite a bit. Yeah, fairy tale fantasy content. This was very interesting because it did change up. The other one was kind of like classic fantasy, almost like medieval fantasy with the kind of themes and the kinds of stuff that popped out. But this was very much, oh no. Oh, please don't tell me I'm going to have packet loss issues. Okay, probably will, based off of the fact that this is having some struggle busing over there. But we'll hopefully make it through the glitches anyways. And not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. My goodness, this is frustrating to me. So, so to give you some context for why you're seeing, like, mess ups with the live stream is, there's this thing called packet loss for, like, when you're having an internet connection, and an okay amount of packet loss is like 1 to 2%. That's still not great, but it's deemed manageable. I've been having packet loss of like 4 to 8%. And essentially, after talking with Comcast or talking with Xfinity, they have decided that 4 to 8% is a non-service affecting thing. And I was like, that's great. That's not true for what I do with my living, but so yeah, so sorry if you have any issues with buffering or glips in the stuff. Hey Robert, yeah, the storage box is something that's really cool. I'm very much like somebody who wants a lot of like good storage solutions for game, especially when I get a lot of one game. I want to be able to store it as effectively as possible. So yeah, like on the expansion and reprint over here on GameFound that they've got, they had a goal of 25,000. They're already almost at 150,000, so 600% funded almost. But they've got quite a lot of stuff here. This one, if you can see kind of on the front here, the artwork of that is, that kind of like witch's house on legs that I remember. I'm trying to remember the name of the story that I used to read about the witch's hut that had the chicken legs and would go after the kids. I can't remember the name of the children's book that I used to read. I always thought it was super creepy. Anyways, this is a more, witch and fairy tale-esque kind of theme for the game, and it's got 4 full scenarios in it. I played just one, so this is the physical prototype of the game. It just came with the first scenario. I haven't touched any of the other 3. I don't know anything about the other 3, though based off of the narrative that I explored in the first one, I can kind of have an idea of where it's headed. And I hope that based off of that, it has a pretty connected and linear story path through all 4 of the scenarios. That was something that in the first Destinies I wished I felt a little bit more cohesion with all of the scenarios, but in this I thought that they're setting it up for a good time. So isn't great for my gaming group. Destinies is not a co-op game, Jason. You share the iPad or whatever device you're using, but the game itself is not cooperative. It is a competitive game. You said competitive nature. Well, then Dark Quarter does make more sense. Dark Quarter is the one that I have been the most excited with because I really like that kind of grim New Orleans Gothic horror setting. So I really do enjoy that, and I love that kind of darker, more mature writing. But for sure, Dark Quarter is one that I did have a good time with. So yeah, Baba Yaga is the name of the witch. I'm trying to think of the name of the book. I can't remember the name of the book that I used to read because it was like a kid's book, but it was terrifying in terms of the topic. And any time now when I hear Baba Yaga, I just think of the Boogeyman and then John Wick. So. But yeah, I like what they're doing here. There was some spatial stuff with how the game functioned that was different. There was also some gameplay experience. Now, keep in mind, I've only played base Destinies and then this. I haven't played Sea of Sand or Myth and Folklore. So if those 2 things introduced any of the gameplay stuff that I experienced here, I'm unaware of that. But I did like how this changed up some of the way that the game played from the very first time that I've tried it, because I've played through all but one of the main scenarios in the first Destiny's base game, and I did enjoy that for sure. But if you guys have any questions about this, let me know. Happy to answer more questions about Destiny's Witchwood. I'm just going to stop holding it up awkwardly in front of myself. And again, if you have any glitches while you're watching, I'm sorry about that. I'm experiencing packet loss, which I'm not enjoying. But it's something I've just got to deal with. I can't not do stuff. I've got to do stuff. So the Witchwood is, long ago, a pact was made with the dwellers of the wood. By the rules of this agreement, men must keep to their villages and paths, scattered throughout the vast forest like embers of light. What lies beyond belongs to others, older masters, creatures of ancient magics who look unkindly upon trespassers. Despite this pact, daring souls explore the woodland labyrinth in search of treasures, adventures, and secrets. Off topic, but am I ever going to be a part of Camp Co-op? I don't know if I'll be a part of Camp Co-op, but Alex, Meg, and I do have designs for events together, consistently. So we're working to start a kind of weekly live show. And then we're also looking to start an RPG live show. So those are 2 things that we're planning on doing. And I would consider the RPG, a co-op thing. I just don't know if it's going to be, I think it may be more part of Board Game Co. rather than Camp Co-op. But would happily, guest feature and join and be a part of Camp Co-op in whatever way they're interested in. But there's been no specific plans for that. There's been specific plans for Board Game Co., just not necessarily Camp Co-op in name. even though it may be that in spirit. So yeah, this is to talk about Destinies, but also plenty of other stuff. Cosmoctopus, which is a game that I did an interview on with Henry Audubon, the designer of Parks, and then Chris Kingsnorth, the publisher with Paperfork Games. Cosmoctopus launched today, so I mean, if I'm looking at Cosmoctopus over here on Kickstarter, they're already funded, so that's doing good. But let me just see. Oh, it's not showing me the Kickstarter page. Yeah, but this is, this is to talk about Destinies, Cosmoctopus, any games you guys want to talk about, and then also just any questions you have. Just trying to get some interaction with you guys. But yeah, I think on the Witchwood campaign, the thing that excites me the most is the storage pledge because it organizes all of it for me. So I really do enjoy that. Really do enjoy that. Oh my gosh. I've been sick for like the entire month of October. It's not been fun. Whoop. What you guys been doing? What's up with your day? How are you guys doing? Probably should have set this up to where I could have screen shared, which I could still do in OBS, but I don't trust my internets right now. But yeah, the ability to store all of this into that box sounds awesome. Oh, and they have point of interest flags to really buff that up. That's cool. That's cool. I prefer co-op games as well, but play Destiny solo. Yeah, that's definitely a good thing as well. Sea of Sand is less competitive, but I haven't played that yet myself. Yeah, I know I haven't played. What's up, Jeff? It's been a while. Hope you're doing all right. I haven't played Sea of Sand. I've heard good things about it, but I am curious as to how that kind of like mixes stuff up. Let's see. Man, what do you guys think about like to get on the topic of organization? What do you guys think about that? Because Destiny's here. If you have the base game, Sea of Sand, Myth and Folklore, and Witchwood, Bound by Fate, all of that stuff, and all the extra goodies, that's like 5 boxes. That's a lot of stuff and a lot of space that takes up a ton of time. But like right now I have, I had Marvel United and Marvel United X-Men get delivered in full from the very generous Alex, and it was like it's so many boxes. And so my plan is right here. So I am putting together and kind of like testing out the system of that Joe from One Sharp Joe is doing. And so this in itself, excluding the minis, this box in the organizational system that's in here, this should fit all of the cards and other components from the Marvel United X-Men, the entire thing. So it's got like the villain dashboards here, the tokens, extra stuff there, and then it has got space for all of the cards. So it's got space for all of the cards and then the locations as well. This can fit the cardboard in it. So we're working on a solution for the minis as well. But essentially this and the other one that's going to be for base Marvel United should hopefully fit in one Kallax. So other than the minis, which I know there's a lot of minis, but other than the minis, all of the cards and other components for the entire run of Marvel United and Marvel United X-Men should hopefully fit in just one Kallax, which I'm super excited about. Because to me, when you get it organized to that level, I feel like it makes it more likely that you'll use a lot of the content other than like 1 or 2 boxes worth. Because if you can access everything, you're much more likely to use it. And so Joe at One Sharp Joe Crafts, he's got that set up. and then they go along with the use of these like plastic paper cards that organize all of the villains and all of the heroes and all the anti-heroes. And so I have essentially all of these from all of Marvel United and Marvel United X-Men. And once I get the second box built and stuff, I'm going to be organizing all of it into 2 boxes for both of the entirities of those games. So I'm excited about that. I got a lot of stuff in that I need to film. But I don't have the ability to film right now. So, like, for example, I got those Marvel United organizers in. I got Destinies that I need to film. That setup time matter a lot. Does it make it easier to pull out and play? I think it does, because especially if you're using stuff from multiple boxes, every single one of the Marvel United boxes for Marvel United and Marvel United X-Men, they've got the plastic, vacuum tray organizer, but then they've got that separated out, and so if you want all of them, and then the decks are just stacked, like they're stacked in there, all of the hero ones and all of the villain ones. So if you want to play within one box, it doesn't take a lot of time to set up. But if you want to play pieces of several games, it can take a while, just to get the stuff you need. So I think setup time, it would be good as well. I appreciate that, Zomer. Yeah, no, I'm hoping to get better too. The difficulty is like trying to get sleep while also trying to get stuff done. Because putting the kids to bed is like a 2.5 hour span of time. So yeah, the nesting box. Yeah, no, Stonemeyer does a good job of offering up some of those. Like you've got the wine crate, the nesting box, the Scythe legendary organizer. I want one for Tapestry. I've got all 3 boxes of Tapestry. I actually think, is there another one? No, it's just all 3 boxes. So whenever I see the insane amount of content in the Marvel games, I'm just so glad that the game never pulled me in enough to get it. So yeah, insane amount of content. Yeah, there's a ton of content, especially if it's like a CMON or like a big Kickstarter. You can certainly get a ton of content. I think the thing that most people don't do, and I say this obviously with context of someone who now has all of it. So, bear in mind, I do enjoy having all of it, though I am happy to condense it as much as I can. I do think that for a lot of Kickstarters, people really don't seem to ever find a middle ground. They either get the bare minimum or they get all in. And I know that that's where the price value is, but at the end of the day, this is not a hobby where a lot of people focus on the price value of getting a game or getting all of a game. You're still spending money in a luxury hobby, but why not go the middle ground where you're I'm going to get this and then I'm going to get these 2 because they excite me the most, So I do think that people have a tendency to either overspend or underspend based off of what they might actually want is somewhere in the middle. Yeah, Tapestry is just I really do enjoy Tapestry, but I would like to have it all in one spot to where I can kind of pick and choose. But it's certainly been fun. I do enjoy playing that one with my wife. Yeah, man, these modules are interesting for Destinies. They have a character's traits, an adversity model. Now, I mean, they also have these metal and plastic elements that are obviously nice deluxifications. Well, I'll have to hold off. The problem has to do with FOMO, people not wanting what they're getting, not know what they're getting. Yeah, no, that's fair, is not being sure the value of what you're getting for Kickstarter and GameFound. So But so doop-a-boo. So let's see. Yeah, I mean, it's, there is definitely like the issue of not being certain the value that you're getting. I do think that's the like snare of the whole platform. Hey Bree, how's it going? Bree, I was just saying, I don't know if it was supposed to be. So for everybody say hi to Bree. She's like one of my favorite people. So Bree works for Lucky Duck. So everybody say hi to Bree. Bree, you did not tell me about all of the fancy stuff. You didn't tell me about the fancy stuff. You guys did storage stuff, which I love, and you did shiny things. So there's the metal experience tokens, which upgrade the cardboard ones. There's the plastic banners, which are the points of interest. And then you've got 2 different modules, and you've got fancy organizer. You've got fancy organizer, Bree. So, I thought it was just the expansion and the reprint. Bree, Jeff's got a question for you. You can answer that better than I can. Let's see. What else is there? The storage box, the metal XP tokens, point of interest fangs, and then also the modules. I'm going to go down and look at the modules because I'm curious what the modules do. What do the modules do? For those of you who are just hopping in, one thing to talk about what Witchwood is doing differently, which I've noticed when I was playing, is it's got mazes, which is kind of like those experiences where you go in, and if you have a map of the area, it lets you navigate it. But if you don't, you can still kind of like wander through blindly, which I definitely did last night, wander through blindly. So that's like a new gameplay thing that I haven't experienced, and I think it's new to Witchwood, is these mazes or these labyrinths that you push through. And, depending on the route that you take, you might go to a dead end. You might go to a dead end that also gives you something, or you might get to where you want to be going. So those are interesting. And then also, speaking of that, like that's a spatial movement, like surprise or element. Take a closer look at those map item cards. I will have to take a closer look at those. They're in the other room, Bree. They're in the other room. But I will have to go look at them because now I'm excited about that. I could probably still decide on getting the storage box if it comes with foam instead of the vacuum plug, since I like to paint my minis. Might keep them safe in foam. On the storage box, I don't know about that. I think it's probably trays, plastic trays. Yeah, custom vacuum trays. However, if since you have the tray organizers, if you prefer foam, you could always get the organizer, the storage box, and then you could get the foam and carve it out, or get like Felder foam or something like that. Because the thing that is the most important, other than the vacuum trays, is the space that gets all the boxes in one spot. However, because of some of the shape of some of the minis, the vacuum plastic would just kind of help them rest a little bit better. What you could do, Zomer, I don't know. This is just me spitballing, but you could get like a very, very thin like felt lining or something, and then, you know, just kind of like mold that to the inside of the vacuum plastic trays, and that way, like, it would rest a little softer than the plastic trays. But faux show, that's an interesting point. Yeah, so going back to the mazes, they have these mazes that you go into and you get to see the structure of like a different type of gameplay. But then also, at least in the one I played, there was some different traveling mechanisms that I really actually thought were quite unique. And again, I haven't played Sea of Sands, I haven't played Myth and Folklore, so I don't know what those integrate or change or, you know, iterate on that switches things up from the base game. But the way that Witchwood did some stuff made it feel more exciting on the table in terms of some of the visual flair that the game was doing. And then I also liked the world felt a little bit larger. I don't know how to describe that effectively, but like the potential of all the things you could go do, whether they were directed to your quest or not, felt interesting. What's the size of the storage container? Let's see. I could probably help with that, but it is 220 millimeters approximately by approximately 275 millimeters, approximately by another 275. So it's 275 by 275 by 220, and those are approximate. I'm not trying to sell it, Somer. I get excited by storage, okay? Like I get excited by storage stuff. You can't get upset with me for being. I have so many things that organize stuff. It's if I could own one store, it would be the Container Store. So But do you guys have any questions about Destinies? Like either the base game or Witchwood or just how the system functions in general? Any people that like haven't played it or have it but they haven't opened it yet to play it? I'm happy to answer whatever questions you've got. For sure, here to help. Here to help. Not upset. You're doing a great job. I'm sorry. I can't help who I am. I can't help who I am. I love organizing and shiny things. Honestly, probably if it was a like with Kickstarters that do organization versus deluxeification, I probably would go with organization. Probably would. I mean, I don't mind if I can do both, but you know, both. Why not both? Quest for El Dorado, anyone? Quest for El Dorado? Haven't opened it yet, just want to make time. Yeah, that's totally fair. Would you happen to know whether you use content from different expansions together? Yes, you do. I can answer that. So your story-specific miniatures that go along with new characters that can't be used from old miniatures, and then your obstacles or monsters or enemies that you face that are unique, all of those are going to be from whatever one you're playing, but the base components of Destinies is used in I think every single other part of the expansion. Now, I don't know if different expansions work together. That part I don't know. Yeah, okay. So Bree has more officially answered the question than I have. Again, because I just have the base game and then the Witchwood single scenario. But I am aware that the Destiny's base game, you use stuff from it in all the other expansions. But I don't think that you use two expansions specific content at the same time. Yes, that's true. That's a good time to mention the community, created scenarios. I think those are so cool, and I think that, like personally, I think that Destinies is a game that I would enjoy, and then eventually gift away to someone or trade or sell, just because once I've finished with the scenarios, I've indulged as much as I was going to in the content. But the community editor that Destinies has is a really clever way of taking such like a reusable base system and allowing like the community to come up with more narratives. And I think that the possibility of, especially because you have like a community behind it, did you do the scenarios with the other birds? No, I played the scenarios here at my house. I did Witchwood by myself, just to where I could kind of like fiddle with it and explore on my own and just take as much time as I needed to see what was going on. And then, hey Aaron, hope you're having a good day too. And then I played the base game. I've played it with my sister, so I've played that at 2-player, and then I did Witchwood at 2-player, but I just did it by myself to where I could see how 2 different people were going and what the differences were, and I was kind of doing it more as a examination of the content rather than just a casual play, which is what I was doing with Destinies. So I want to go all in on this one from sharing. Besides from the app, how is this different from Tainted Grail, which I also backed? The storage box calyx size is great. So, sharing. I have not played Tainted Grail. I have heard good things about it. If you want a very exhaustive look at Tainted Grail, I know that Doolin from Table Knots did after spending hours playing it, he's done a review of Tainted Grail. So if you want to kind of go see what that does, but from my understanding, Tainted Grail is like a very, very deep narrative campaign, and Destinies works in a much more I don't know if approachable is the right word, but maybe like story accessible, in the sense that the games the games are just naturally going to take less time, and then it's probably going to be a lot more inviting to bring new people in. Tainted Grail is something that if you're either doing it by yourself or with people, I imagine it's the kind of thing that you're going to do with those people the whole time. Destinies has a lot more ability to bring in new players, because while most of the scenarios are connected with an overarching story, individually the objectives in the scenarios are unique and separate. So you could do one with one group, one with another group, and you might see the thread that connects them, but the other players don't have to. So I think that this one is probably easier to table, especially because all of the different scenarios are broken down into 4 or 5 scenarios in each box, to where if you you can consume it in a much more digestible pace. But again, I haven't played Tainted Grail, I haven't experienced it myself, but I do anticipate that the size of it and scope of it probably